All right, hey everyone. So the topic I want to cover today is the implied forward rates. So how implied forward rates are different, as compared to the actual forward rates, and then I'll go over some examples as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So the implied forward rates are the expected future interest rates, kind of derived from the current spot rates from the zero coupon bonds. So unlike the actual forward rates, implied forward rates are not an actual contract rate, right? So forward rates are the actual agreed upon rate on a contract, but the implied forward rates are not. Also, implied forward rates are used for pricing bonds, forecasting interest rates, and also kind of evaluating different investment options that we may have. And, the IFR or the implied forward rates are the theoretical rates based on the assumption of arbitrage-free conditions, meaning, let's say if we have forward rates, they're kind of the real negotiated rate between the two counterparties. These theoretical rates are based on the assumptions that the arbitrageurs cannot benefit out of it. So it's kind of arbitrage-free conditions. So let's look into an example. So here we have 1 year spot rate S1 at 4%. Okay. So if you go out in the market right away, you can borrow money at 4%, or you can just lend money at 4%, approximate. The 2 year spot rate we have here is S2 at 5%. So let's look it on our timeline so it's more clear. So this is time t equals to 0, which is today. This is time t equals to 1, and this is time t equals to 2. So the blue shaded here is 4%. So you're borrowing or lending at 4%. The 5% is the 2 year spot rate. And then the one shaded in the green, it says the 1 year rate 1 year from now. So this is the 1y says it's going to be from time period t equals to 1 to t equals to 2. And it starts at 1 year. So it starts at t equals to 1, ends at t equals to 2. So 1 year rate 1 year from now. So now is time t equals to 0. It's going to start at t equals to 1. Okay. So here we have 1 plus S2. S2 is nothing but the spot rate for 2 years squared, which is, we're kind of taking compounding effects here, plus the spot rate for year 1 times 1 plus the implied forward rate. So all it's saying is if you're borrowing money or lending money, let's say at 5%, should be equal to the spot rate of year 1 times the implied forward rate for the year 2. Okay. So we have 5% for the second 2 year spot rate, and then we have 4% for 1 year spot rate into implied forward rate, and then if we solve for IFR, we should get 6%. Now, what the 6%? Let's look into the 6%. What does it mean? So let's look into the interpretation. So basically what we are saying is the market expects 1 year interest rates 1 year from now. So 1 year interest rate 1 year from now to be 6%. Okay. So if an investor wants to invest today for 2 years, so they have like two options. They can buy a 2-year bond at 5%, earning an average rate of 5%, or they can invest in a 1-year bond at 4% today, and then they can reinvest in 1-year bond next year at the implied 6% to kind of match the same 2-year returns for the spot rate. So thus the implied forward rate kind of helps predict future, I would say like a borrowing or the investment rates based on the current spot rates that we have. So let's say if I want to lend $100. Okay, so I have two options. Option one, so I can have a present value $100. I'm going to lend $100 at 5%, n equals to 2. So we are lending for 2 years straight. At the end, I can expect a future value of $110.25. Or I have an option 2. I can lend $100 for year 1, which is 4%. So end of the year 1, I'm going to have $104. And then I can reinvest at an implied rate of 6%, which will again give me the same future value of $110.25. If this doesn't hold, let's say if we have a future value of $115.25, then there will be an arbitrage opportunity in the markets. And, many arbitrageurs will jump into this opportunity, and then the rates will be back to an equilibrium point. All right, so we can look into in another example now. So the example we covered so far is kind of a very simple example, but things can get a little complicated. Okay, so looking into another example. So information given here. Now, first of all, here's the formula to calculate the implied forward rate. And I can break down the formula here in a minute. But let's say the information given here is we have a 3-year bond paying 3.65%. So that's ZA, kind of a spot rate for a 3-year bond, 3.65%. We have a 4-year bond paying 4.18%. So that's spot rate here for a 4-year bond. So we want to find the implied forward rate 1 year for 1 year, 3 years from now. So if you read from the reverse, it's going to make more sense. So you want to find implied forward rate for 1 year. So you're going to invest or borrow for 1 year, but you want to know the rates 3 years from now. Okay, so that's when the time period begins. So we're going to, let's say if we are the investor, we're going to invest money 3 years from now for 1 year only. But the information we have is for 3 year and a 4 year. So we're trying to find the implied forward rate here. Okay. So again, as I said earlier, it's going to be 1 year rate 3 years from now. And I'll put it on a timeline here. So A will be beginning point of the loan. So for the formula we have here, A will be like the beginning point of the loan. So our loan starts in year 3. And then B will be the maturity point of the loan. So this loan going to be maturing in year 4. Okay, so B minus A will be 4 minus 3, and 1 will be the tenor. In other words, we're just investing this money for 1 year period. Okay, so let's look into on a timeline. So we have timeline here, t equals to 0, time period end of year 1, end of year 2, 3, and then end of year 4. So the 3-year bond highlighted in yellow paying 3.65. Okay, so if you go out in the market, you buy the bond, you invest your, let's say $100, you can expect 3.65. If you buy a 4-year bond, so this kind of highlighted in the green, it's paying 4.18%. But what if I want to find the implied forward rate from time period t equals to 3 to t equals to 4? That's going to be 1 year. So we're going to be investing for 1 year starting 3 years from now. So now is time 0, so 3 years, 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to be starting here to here. So what's going to be the implied forward rate? The one that's highlighted in blue. Okay, so if you look into this formula, so 1 plus the spot rate. So what's the spot rate? ZB. So spot rate here is 4.18%. So 1 plus 0.0418 to the power 4, because we have like 4 compounding period, equals to 1 plus 0.0365. So that's the spot rate for 3-year bond into 1 plus the implied forward rate for 1 year, 3 years from now. Okay, so for 1 year, 3 years from now. And then we can calculate further. 1.17798 equals to 1.11354 times the implied forward rate, and then we solve for IFR, which should give us 5.79. Okay, so that's the implied forward rate for 1 year, 3 years from now. All right, so well, there you have it. Hope you find this short content helpful. As always, let me know if you have any questions, concerns in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.